Hey everybody, just a quick word before the video starts. I guess this is a technical sponsorship. It's my own app. It's called iRoleplay. You can create characters. I'll probably have a little video up here. Create characters. You can check other people's out. All kinds of different role plays and categories. So if you're into the whole role playing scene, it's the perfect app for you. And yeah, it's actually I created it myself. It's on iRoleplay. You can find me on social media everywhere. Probably let you guys a little link below. Of course, for the download the app. And hopefully you guys give it a download. You check me out on social media. Thank you so much. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Spencer here with Argue Culture, of course. Bringing you a really fun and unique deck that you probably will not see anywhere else. I like watching the original series, obviously, and I'll probably be doing some videos on that at some point. But in any case, I really liked the season with the Legendary Knights and Legendary Dragons, so I was inspired one day to just make a deck based off of it. I saw someone made one like years and years ago, and so I built their exact build because I thought it was interesting to like incorporate all of them, like the Legendary Knights and Legendary Dragons together. And his deck was okay, but I made a lot of changes to it. I incorporated some new cards with it and everything like that. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys today. So yeah, let's get started. This probably won't be a long video, and I only have like one clip to show you because the thing is with this deck, actually, before I start, like right before I start, I just want to say, like, this is like the ultimate tag team deck. I don't know why. It's weird. I guess because you're spending resources on like defense essentially, and so if your other opponent is able to like actually make some boards, like you can build like a pretty strong like duo. It just seems to happen that way every single time. You guys, if you're interested, you check it out yourself. There's like something magical about this deck. I'm telling you. Okay. So we'll get started. I'll start with the spell cards here. I'll tell you about my ratios. So the three thing of creating, it's obviously like the only actual useful one in terms of like the cards that it summons. Like they're actually some pretty powerful extra deck monsters, which obviously would have been better in old format like this. But again, if you're playing with an opponent who actually has some half decent deck, like this can be a real good punch. Like especially all the extra deck Doom Virus and Mirror Force Dragon, like by themselves they're bad. Like you won't win. It's almost impossible to win a single duel with this deck, like no matter what you do with it. But with your tag team duel, like it's pretty good. And so yeah, this is the most important cards of 3 of. If you could run like 16 of them, I would, but obviously it's limited to 3. So yeah, it's definitely a 3 of. 2, the Claw of Hermos. Again, by itself, terrible card, but in the tag team duels, the cards that are summoned, the fusion monsters that are summoned with it, they're actually quite powerful. And if you can connect it to like a really good like monster that you like your tag team partner owns, like this is a really useful card. I don't have any gameplay for you, but when I go over the extra deck, you guys will kind of see and understand where I'm coming with this. Let's see. All right, and then for the last of the Legendary Dragon cards, just the two, the Eye of Timaeus. There is a Dark Magician Girl in this deck. I tried using Dark Magicians, and like for a second I was gonna say like, oh, I can use like Dark Magical Veil and special summon the Dark Magician from my deck, and that's really really good. And then I realized you can't special summon other monsters that turn, which is so dumb. I wish it only like spellcaster monsters or something like that. I don't know. We need an errata for that card because then you could use Dark Magicians in this deck and actually be half decent. But until then, it'll only be used with Dark Magician Girl in this deck. So yeah, those are my ratios for all the Legendary Dragon cards, and I just love the idea of fusion summoning with trap cards and stuff, like the Fang of Critias does. I wish it would do more. Honestly, I think that the idea of that is just so cool. Oh, and then yeah, I guess I should mention this too. The Legend of Heart, just 2 of them, because the whole idea of the deck is to summon the Timaeus, the Knight fusion card. So like this was like all those cards are staples. That's what I based the whole deck off. Like, okay, I want all of these cards in there, and then the legendary like Knights cards. So yeah, I mean it's got to be in there, right? And you don't want to see it too much because it's usually a brick. But this deck kind of turbos out the spell cards into the graveyard because that's what the Legend of Hearts card's all about. So yeah, that's just the 2 of those. And there is a way to access your spell cards in this deck and everything like that. So it's not a complete like failure, but you guys will kind of see, I guess, right? The 1 reinforced army, obviously it's only limited to 1. You need warrior monsters in this deck, obviously, for the Claw of Hermos, and then the Legend of Heart 2, you need a warrior monster for whatever reason. So it's like a staple. I wish it was at 3, but I understand why it's not. The One Day of Peace, because you're going to need to stall a lot in this deck, and you're going to need a lot of draw power. So that's just one way to do it. It's pretty simple. Yeah, you need it. It's like so happy when I see it, right? The reasoning, this is such a super powerful and good card for this deck for so many reasons. Mainly because you have a lot of weirdly like leveled monsters like 3 and 5. Like no one would really guess that. You're usually going to go for like 1 or 4. And also the legendary knights can't be normal summoned. They can only be special summoned with the Legend of Hearts. So when you're not drawing them, that's when you know you're gonna have a half decent duel. Like if they're all in the graveyard, because the Legend of Heart special summons them from the deck, graveyard, or hand. So if you can reasoning and get some of your legendary knights in the graveyard, and then special summon a monster, like you're actually doing something with the deck, and you're kind of going through what it's supposed to do. Which the whole point is to get the fusion monster and the other like legendary knight cards or whatever. So yeah, this is the definite ratio to have for this. We just one up for the legendary knights, each one Timaeus and Hermos, and Critias, of course. They all have half decent effects of like copying effects. So if you actually get them out, like you can do something with them. It's not terrible, which is nice. And they're also obviously not extra deck monsters. So and this deck obviously has a problem with only the one extra deck monster zone because it's not old format anymore. So it's nice when you get them out in the field because they actually can do a lot of good things. So yeah, just one of those. Yeah, so the Photon Thrasher, it's an easy card to special summon to your field for your Claw of Hermos, for the Legend of Hearts. It's the best way to get about it. So it's a pretty decent card. Yeah, just the 2 of those. It's good. This is a really important card as well. It's very, very, very similar to your reasoning, only for spell cards, basically. You just trip it at the end of the turn, and then you can grab whatever you need. Like one of your claw cards that you need to fusion summon with one of your trap cards or whatever. So it's really, really useful for that. And yeah, you can also get your legendary knights in the graveyard too, which of course I said was like really important. So it's a perfect card for this deck. And the 2 Dark Magician Girls, so you can actually use the thing, the Timaeus card. Sorry, geez. And you're able to special summon like with Photon Thrasher. So if you do have him in your hand, she's not going to always be dead. You might be able to actually play her, which is good. So yeah, like I said, I use Dark Magician, but it's just impossible to summon him. It didn't work out. So she's the only one, and she actually has her like fusion card's actually quite good for duels. So yeah, just the 2 of those. It's good. And like I said, the Kribo card searches spell cards. So if she's in your hand, like you can like pretty much assure that you'll be able to do something with her in some level. Spell Striker, and just again, like you need to have that special summon like always ready for the warrior card for any thing you need. So this is just an easy banish a spell card. And there's lots of spells in this deck too, so not a problem, and pretty useful. I guess you don't take battle damage and stuff and attack directly, but that's kind of like just like side things. It's like, all right, cool. The 1 Morphing Jar, yeah, perfect. You need draw power. You're gonna go through your entire hand almost every turn 1, and if you have the knight cards in your hand, you're like, ah, geez, you're like, this is terrible. So you do get those 5 cards in your hand, and those resources are really, really important. And like all decks now can like recycle their hands, so you're not really giving your opponent too much of an advantage depending on the duel, but you need it. Like you have to, so you don't really have a choice. And yes, it's a gold rare because why not? For your defenses, pretty much, you have Petten. It goes well with your Crush card, which obviously you're going to be using because of the thing of Critias. It stabilizes your defenses, and if you have Crush Card Virus, you can actually obviously use it because it meets the requirements. Which is good. Crush card can be really good depending on the deck. You never know, like Thunder Dragons and stuff. Not that you would ever face it like this, but just like an example, just any deck that you're playing, like especially in the tag team scene, which is usually like a lot more casual. Like there's no like competitive tag scene, so Crush Card Virus for older decks and like more casual strategies that can be like super devastating. So Petten seemed to fit really well into the whole idea of the deck. And now for the exciting part, the trap cards. Beautiful ultra rares of Mirror Force, which is always nice. I mean, yeah, I know it's like outdated and stuff, and it's really easy to remove traps. But if it does go off, it's good, and obviously you're gonna try to get it for the thing of, you're gonna try to get it with Critias out to summon the fusion monster. But yeah, I guess it is technically a battle trap, and every once in a while it'll go off, which is good. And again, this is where you guys will kind of see where the whole idea comes in, that you're like helping your partner out, like. If your partner builds a board, they might not be thinking about the back row. They might be focused too much on the monsters. So, and when it goes off, it's good. There's no doubt. So there's Mirror Force. Next trap we have, of course, is your Crush Card Virus. Like I said, against more casual strategies, it's always going to be really super good. And then you can use it with Petin and stuff like that. But of course, the Doom Virus Dragon is always like your target. It's one of the best cards. I wish I would have been able to record it. I did use a Doom, like I got the dragon out and it discarded his entire hand. I completely demolished his entire hand. There's nothing you can do, so he had to quit out. It's my favorite monster in the deck, and it's one of my favorite monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because of that memory. Like, it's just funny that he had to quit because of it. And I have the 2 Ring of Destruction. The Destructo Dragon is quite good, actually. The burn effect and the destroy is super awesome. And generally speaking, it's a pretty decent card. I would run 3, but there's a few other cards that I wanted to use instead. So, and it'll be searchable with the card you'll see soon. So it's half decent. It's another one of those trap cards that your opponent might just not be expecting. So, and it's able to give burn damage, which is like pretty good too, I guess. Why not? I wish I wouldn't have eroded it, and you could do game enders with Ring of Destruction, but Konami is Konami, right? The best way to disrupt your opponent with this deck, because you're going to be going very, very slow, and usually summon like 1 monster. Summon Limit, it's just a really powerful effect, and I guess it can hurt your partner, but if he goes first, then he sets up a board, and then you obviously never want to open up first. You would always want your other tag team partner to go first. So if they can set up an actual board and you can activate Summon Limit after you go, and then it'll be like turn 1 again for them, it can really disrupt him and then like kind of lock them down, and they can't really do anything about it. So it technically does help your tag team. Not always going to work out, but just in general, every deck is like turboing out monsters of all kinds. So it's a useful effect. And then theoretically, you could change that out with anything that you felt is better, you know. But that's just what I got. And yeah, so this is like where the new support really comes in. The most expensive cards in the deck, obviously. Trap Trick, yeah. You can search out all. That really helps his deck. It like almost makes it kind of crazy, like to even think about. So if you want to like take out a Mirror Force or whatever and use another Trap Trick, it's essentially the same thing. You're like net zeroing. It allows you to search any of them. So if you have like Critias, you can summon any of the ones that you need. It's kind of crazy, actually. I really do think this is the best version of the deck. I think it's like half decent in terms of like consistency for what I'm going for, not for like winning all the duels, but just for what like I'm trying to create with this deck. So yeah, Trap Trick is an expensive card, especially for such a casual deck. I mean, I know it's kind of funny I have like the expensive cards like Summon Limit and Trap Trick, but I did want to try to make this as good as I could, and I hope you guys enjoy that part of it. So now we go into the really good part, right? This is what it's all about, is the extra deck. You're gonna run the one Timaeus, the King of Destiny. It's a pretty decent card, I guess. Why not? It's fun. That's the whole point of the deck, like to try to get this card out. You almost never do it, but when you do, it's like, wow, this is so cool. It's great. And it's just a good looking card. Like that's pretty much the entire reason of the deck, right? Like you just want to show it off and be like, hey, look, I have this cool deck. Like I have all these cool monsters, and you know, I have all the like highest rarities of all the cards, I believe, or at least one of the highest too. So it's just kind of cool eye candy, this deck. That's kind of the whole point. Just fun, really. Just the purest form of casual that you could imagine. So yeah, that's a good one. Just the one. I mean, you can up on like any of these cards, really. There's no like set thing. Dark Magician, Golden Dragon Knight. Good effect, quick effect to destroy cards, and it's won me duels like over time, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, that's just, you'll try to get that out if you can. If it's an option, it's a good card to have out, especially against tag teams. Like, and if you know about like other strategies and you know when that one card needs to be on the field, you can definitely take advantage. the 2 Destructo Dragons. Yeah, destroying and burning. And it doesn't use the Ring of Destruction effect where it hurts you too. Like, it actually just burns them. And you have a decently sized monster on the field, I suppose. I wish it was more attack. I don't... Why it can't be a 3,000 attack monster, I don't know. It would have been, like, a lot better. Certainly not overpowered. None of this... No part of any of this is overpowered. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good. The defense, I guess, if you want to use it in that case, is 3,000. It's hard to beat over, but whatever. The 1 Dark Paladin, I know I'm not using anything, but like if you were to tag team with Dark Magicians, that would probably be, obviously by far, be the best tag team part of this. Like, that's exactly what you would be going for every single time. Like, that's your ideal partner because you can use the Timaeus cards and stuff like that, and your opponent can use them too if you set them. So that would be like the best way to go about it. So I like to have them, and you can change your extra deck too, like depending on the things you're playing. But yeah, if you can play with this tag team, this with Dark Magicians, and like they have some floodgates going, like you can actually like win some pretty good duels because you're like essentially locking them down. And summon limit is not a problem for Dark Magicians either, so they can actually play with it. So if you were to like use it, and like they could build a board too, which is really great. So yeah, I always have them in there, and plus obviously you just want to have it in there, right? You want to show it off because like these are all, I try to include all of the fusion cards. I have all of them in my deck. Like I said, yeah, like here's Rocket Hermos, and again, if you can attach these to some of your opponent's really good monsters, I know this one inflicts piercing battle damage, so you might never summon this one, but there is one next that I'll show you guys that actually has a half decent effect. That is like real good for even today's Yu-Gi-Oh. Like if the monster had the effect, people would be like, okay, it's a pretty good effect. And attacking twice too, really good, yeah, for your other, if you have another opponent. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. This is the one you usually summon with the Claw of Hermos. Negates the first effect that happens during the battle phase, which can be tremendously important. Imagine if you can get this like attached to a Borreload or something. Like you just never know. My buddy plays Cyber Dragons, and I attached this to like Seeger, or not Seeger, like Infinity or something like that. Then you're like really talking about some crazy stuff going on, which is really useful. I'll go back. Okay, I'll go over this. Time Hammer again it's a silly one, but it does have a pretty darn strong ability to banish monsters for like a certain amount of turns, which could be like game devastating, like 6 turns, you know. So if you can summon this out, it's like, wow, okay, that's pretty good. Let me see. Yeah, so it's the Claw of Hermos with the Spellcaster monster. So again, like this is like when you'd want to use it with Dark Magicians if you would, but otherwise it's just in there to show like, hey, I have all the fusion cards for all these. Like that's basically what it comes down to. That's why I have Tyrant Burst. Like you'll never ever use that. That's just a bad card, but yeah, it's good, and you want to see it. It's like fun to see in your extra deck and to look through it, and while you're looking through the deck, it's like more of a collector's type of thing. And Mirror Force Dragon, pretty darn good effect. Like by itself, it's like super easy to remove and it happens all the time if you're playing singles. But if you just have it on the field, like your opponent like has no choice to play around it. And like if your like friend has built a board of some sort, like if you target, it blows up their board every time. Like, and it's not once per turn, so that's a pretty darn good effect, honestly, which is like pretty cool. Again, this is like a personal favorite deck of mine. I love looking through it, and I like the card sleeves seem to go really well with it. The white, it's what I would recommend too. So yeah, that's the Mirror Force Dragon, really good. And then my favorite card, one of my favorite cards at Yu-Gi-Oh, probably like my 3rd favorite card, is Doom Virus Dragon. The ability to nuke boards, and also I wish it had a little more attack. 1900's like super weak, but the idea is that you summon it and like it'll nuke everyone's board in their hands and your opponent's hands too, which could also be like game changing as well, which is just really neat and fun. So yeah, that was my deck profile. I'll have like a small gameplay. It's not even the full game. I just want to show you like what it can look like, just like a quick example. If you guys did want to see more gameplay of it, I would be like more than willing to do it. I just hadn't had it like collected over time. I just kind of recorded today, and I've been really busy with my app as well, so I don't like have super long times to record, like especially for like a silly little decks like this. But hopefully if you watch the replay there, it'll be kind of fun, and I'll talk over it as well. So thank you guys. Okay, yeah, here's a little gameplay. He had built like a pretty strong board, as you guys can see, with like all the Blue Eyes monsters, so it looks kind of good. Like yeah, it's fun. Like he's playing Neo. It's like again, this is like super. This is what I'm like the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, you're gonna play tag team casuals. This is why I wanted to show you the. Yeah, you guys can check it out. Like he kind of built like a cool board. You know, it's like wow, he kind of like blew it up and the whole Neo Spatian thing. That's like really really cool. And then like for whatever reason, it was like a really wholesome duel. Like maybe I can show you guys the other one too. Like for whatever reason, like people just seem really nice right now in Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, so yeah, my tag team partners, like his whole like hand and stuff is gone, and they're like making fun of him for using Mirror Force and stuff. Which is like just like the whole casual strategy thing. And obviously I'm using Mirror Force too, so yeah. So we got it punched, and then yeah, you guys can see what my opening hand looks like. I'm able to activate the Fang of Critias, and I use Crush Card Virus to see if I can get rid of some cards in his hand. And yeah, so I got to nuked his hand, um, which is so great. And I wish Fang of Critias you can only activate once per turn. Like that's crazy. And I kind of noticed that. Like I didn't really realize. But yeah, so now I at least have a battle trap down, and then you can see like this is like probably the best opening hand maybe you can get for the deck. So I put that the jar card down. Yeah. That way like uh for mine, like if he would to attack into it, I should have set the thing, you know, like a Critias obviously, but I didn't, and he ended up quitting out unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I should have set Critias down, and then when he flipped summon, I would have had an entirely new hand, which is so great. And so yeah, that's just a little gameplay I wanted to show you guys. I hope you enjoyed. It seemed kind of fun, like you guys kind of get the idea, and why I like the Doom Virus Dragon. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, if you guys want to support me, please download my app iRoleplay on the App Store. It would mean the world to me, and I'm going strong. Like the first few days have been really great. I've been meeting a lot of good people. A lot of people have been participating on the app, and things are looking great. And I'm excited to keep going with it, and excited to keep making more YouTube videos. Obviously, getting more popular there. And I've really enjoyed the journey from like 0 subscribers, and now I'm up to 14, which is great. I'll never forget it. Really, I won't. So thank you guys.